Thank You Ma'am is a story of behavioral transformation of a young boy, not in terms of mighty experiences or any thesis, but in terms of simple gestures of kindness of a large woman. In the story, a woman named Mrs. Loyola Bates Washington Jones was walking alone during 11 o'clock at night in the street. It was then a young boy named Roger, who looks 14 or 15 years old, came towards her in order to snatch her purse. So he ran to her so that he can steal her purse. But in the process, when he dug the purse, he broke in the strap of the purse and get disbalanced there and fall on the sidewalk. Then the lady took hold of the boy and she had a little bit of scolding to give him. She wasn't very much harsh to the boy as she saw the boy was very young, so she just had a little bit of scolding for him. She took him up and asked him about his physical appearance, because the boy has a lot of dirt in his face. So she asked him that whether there is no one at home who can tell him that he needs to wash his face, as it's an indirect gesture of the woman to ask about the backgrounding of the boy, because she doesn't want to embarrass the boy to directly ask him about his family, or we can say that she can feel it get offended if the boy must get offended by the question. So she just kindly asked the boy that whether there's no one at home that can tell you that you need to wash your dirty face. So the boy replied that there's no one at home for him. Mrs. Jones then dragged Roger to her home, where he made him clean up himself, and then they had a supper because she thought that hunger was the cause behind Roger stealing her purse. But Roger then clear himself that he was not stealing because he was hungry. He was stealing because he wanted a pair of blue suede shoes. So the women didn't criticize Roger on that. They had supper. They had a little light conversation where Mrs. Jones didn't ask anything about the boy. Instead, she told about her life, about her work at beauty salon, where she came across different types of blondies, red hair, and Spanish women. So they had a bit of chit chat, and with the process, from the moment where Roger was attempting to steal without carrying any kind of responsibility of his action, to the pattern where he was calmly sitting, taking responsibility of his action, his behavior changed. After they finished eating, Mrs. Jones gave Roger $10 and led him to the front door. At this gesture, Roger wanted to say something more than thank you, but he didn't even get the chance to say thank you properly because, Mrs. Jones shut the door even before he could say anything. And after that, he never saw Mrs. Jones again. And at this point, the story ends. This is a very simple story with minute details. The tone is very simple in the story, the theme is very simple, the use of language is very simple, but we know the very simplest kind of story carries the most valuable lessons. So, this story is written during the period of Harlem Renaissance, and Langston Hughes was one of the renowned writers of that period. So, Harlem Renaissance is basically a period when Afro-American peoples were taking movement of their cultural awakening, of their literary development, and protest against racism. Mrs. Jones was described as large woman many times in the story. It was obviously because of her physical size, but it exerts some abstract values of independence, authority, morality as well. Then again, we see that Mrs. Jones grabbed Roger and take him to her home instead of taking him to the police station, because she doesn't want him to get any kind of harsh punishment. Instead, she scolds him like a mother. It shows her parental instinct that describes her moral belief that kindness is the better teacher than punishments. Mrs. Jones asked Roger about the dirt in his face, and she took this excuse as asking about his family indirectly, because throughout the story we see she didn't raise any direct question regarding his background and family, because she thinks that it might embarrass the boy or it might upset him. In order to know that does he have anybody of his own in this world, she asked him about this question, that whether no one at home tells you that there is dirt in your face and you need to wash them. So when the boy replied that no, there is no one, she got her answer that he was alone in this world. So she took the whole situation very humbly. Roger's behavior started changing because of the gestures of compassion shown to him by Mrs. Jones. Like she wanted him to stay presentable, she scolds him softly, she wanted him to have something to eat so he might satisfy his hunger. So all these shows motherly instincts, which Roger also wanted in his life, because he is missing it out. Then again, we see at Mrs. Jones' house, when Mrs. Jones made Roger sit in the room, the door was open. He wanted to run. He had the thought of running from there, but then he didn't, because that was an indirect sense of responsibility which he was gaining, which he had, and that changed it. He thought of running, but he didn't run, because he knew that his action carries consequences, and he is responsible for that. This is exactly what Mrs. Jones wanted to teach Roger. He even asked her that whether he can go to the market and bring something which she needed, like milk or some other grocery, but she didn't want anything, so she said that it is fine. But this shows that how responsible he got. He was there in her house and wanted to make a help, he wanted to prove as a help to her. Mrs. Jones left the boy and the purse in the room and went to the kitchen. This shows the weight of trust she had in her. And also, we can say that it is kind of a test to see that whether the boy is worthy of the trust or not. And the boy, Roger, is absolutely worthy of it, because he wanted to not get mistrusted against, as he feel himself that I don't want to get mistrusted again. So that shows how he is completely changed by Mrs. Jones. Then again, we see the importance of shoes here, which Roger wanted to buy, the blue studio shoes, because of which he attempted stealing. The shoes represents the state of life. Him wanting a good pair of shoes is metaphorical reference to him wanting a good state of life. So here, Mrs. Jones was represented as a guider who teaches Roger that the shortcut he was attempting to get those shoes, it means the shortcut he was attempting to get a good life, will never feel worthy at the end, as she described that those devilish shoes, the shoes became devilish because of the way it was being taken. So she described that those devilish shoes will burn his feet, it means will destroy his life, as the distortion of moral values will never create a good human. So she teaches him that, and that changes his whole life. And she was right when she said in the story that Roger will remember that he had an evening with Mrs. Loyola Bates Washington, and he will completely remember that evening, probably. Thus, Mrs. Jones proved that it takes only one evening to clean the dirty face, not with harsh soap, but gently with water, is enough to clean a young heart. And that's the end of the story. I know it's been a while since I have been posted. I will try to stay regular. I share stories which I love and which I adore. So my stories, my explanations will lack the critical analysis academically, but it will never lose the essence. So that's the motive of me creating stories. I hope you like the stories, and if you want more stories like these, stay connected.